Hey guys, today we will be discussing our different agency non-discrimination policies and comparing the similarities and differences. My name is Sarah Cantrell and I will be discussing my volunteer agency, Communities and Schools anti-discrimination policy. Their anti-discrimination policy states communities and schools shall provide a work and educational environment that does not discriminate based on race, color, national origin, gender, age, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, marital status, mental or physical disability, genetic information, or any other basis protected by applicable law. Communities and Schools prohibits harassment of employees, contractors, and learners based on any of these protected categories.
Hi guys, my name is Jaylene and I'm currently volunteering at the AJB Middle School. Their agency policy states it is the policy of the Seguin Independent School District not to discriminate on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, or disability in its educational programs, services, or activities as required by the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 as amended, Title IX of the Educational Amendments of the 1972, and the Age Discrimination Act of 1975 as amended, as well as Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 as amended.
Hi everyone, my name is Abraham. I'm currently volunteering in Ruth Barron Elementary. Their agency policy is the district prohibits discrimination, including harassment against any employee on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, age, disability, or any other basis prohibited by law. Retaliation against anyone involved in the complaint process is a violation of district policy and is prohibited. Now we will be discussing the similarities and differences between each other's agency policies.
So I'll be looking at the similarities between Ruth Barron's policy and then my policy at AJB. I noticed several key similarities, but both policies highlight the importance of equality and protection for all students or employees, whether it's race, national origin, sex, or disability. Both policies aim to provide a safe and fair environment. Also, they both emphasize that retaliation for reporting discrimination will not be tolerated. And some similarities that we share were that both policies reference protected categories like race, religion, sex, and disability. Each policy aligns with core values in the NASW Code of Ethics, especially around dignity, worthy of a person, and social justice. And then lastly, they both aim to comply with federal anti-discrimination laws like Title VI, Title IX, and Section 504. Some differences that we share is that AJB's policy mentions specific federal laws, while Ruth Barron's is more general. And Ruth Barron's policy explicitly prohibits retaliation, which AJB doesn't mention. Ruth Barron focuses more on coworker level discrimination, while AJB addresses student inclusion. And then Ruth Barron's policy is described as brief and straightforward, while AJB's AJB uses more formal legal language. So when it comes to AJB's middle school policy and Ruth Barron's elementary policy, the main difference is the level of legal detail included. AJB is more explicit with references to federal laws, which could make the policy feel more robust in terms of legal standing. And Ruth Barron Elementary's policy doesn't go into that kind of detail, but it does kind of include more comprehensive protections such as marital status and gender identity. This shows that Ruth Barron might be taking more modern steps in recognizing the diversity of students and employees. And AJB's policy doesn't explicitly include those categories, which could leave some gaps in terms of protecting all identities.
Some of the similarities and differences that CIS and Ruben share are some of the similarities are CIS policies have the same categories as Ruben that are protected, such as national origin, disability, and age. Harassment of employees is prohibited and is included in the CIS policy. Other similarities are both are committed to non-discrimination, both are committed to prohibit harassment of employees, and CIS and Ruben policies are brief and straightforward. Some of the differences that both share are Ruben prohibits retaliation, which is not included in CIS policy. CIS has a genetic information basis that is not included in Ruben policy, and CIS policy includes a marital status basis that is protected, while Ruben policy does not have.
When comparing communities and schools anti discrimination policy to AJB Middle School's non discrimination policy, there are a couple of similarities and differences. Our agency non discrimination policy similarities are that both describe some specifics on what is prohibited from discriminating against, and both are committed to non discrimination. But neither of our agency policies discuss protocols on how and who to report to when it comes to witnessing or experiencing discrimination. They also do not discuss the consequences of discriminating or provide examples of what discrimination looks like. Also, neither of them included who under their agency is to not discriminate. For example, they could work in that employees, volunteers, or agents working under their agency are prohibited from discriminating. In saying all that, both only include the bare minimum necessary to prohibit anti discrimination. When it could be beneficial to add more details to the policy, both policies could also include ways to discourage anti discrimination. The differences between our agency's policies are that AJB Middle School did not specifically include marital status, age, or gender identity to not discriminate against, while CIS did include those specifications. AJB also did not include who is not to be discriminated against, while CIS states that they prohibit harassment of employees, contractors, and learners based on any of those protected categories. But AJB Middle School specifically included laws that legally prohibits discrimination while communities and schools did not. The laws AJB included were Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title IX of the Educational Amendments of 1972, the Age Discrimination Act of 1975, and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973.
Thank y'all for watching our discussion today. We hope this helps in understanding the importance of clear non-discrimination policies in schools and organizations. We hope y'all gained some useful insights today and stay tuned for next week's discussion. And we'll see y'all next time.